Yep, I just got the notification.
Okay, you did? Perfect. Cool.
Hmm.
Take a quick listen to see how we coming in real quick.
Okay. Let's see. Mm, okay, let's see.
Sounds like I'm really low, coming through low on that end. I wonder if I turn it up here if it helps. So
Okay, let's see.
sounds like I'm really I'll turn it up here if it helps. So
Yeah, you do sound low on YouTube.
that's strange. Okay. Hmm. Just turn it up some more. Maybe that helps. Let's see. I'm just playing around with the settings some more.
Sound low on YouTube. Okay.
Like I hear you. You sound really good. But I sound like really low. But I just turned it up some more, so we'll see.
Oh yeah, that's better. That's better. I already can tell.
Yeah, that does sound better. Okay, perfect. All right, cool. So
Yeah.
that works. Cool. All right, we get there. All right. Very good. Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day. Share, share, share. Shout out to Auntie Vicky. We are streaming here on Twitter Space as well as our YouTube page. We just spent an hour over on TikTok.
Yes.
Um, Trying to get the girlies rallied together to come on over and enjoy our Memorial Day special.
Yes.
Um, as you know, here on the Truth Power and Perspectives podcast, certain things can't be discussed on other platforms. So we keep the rainbows, glitter, and sunshines on certain apps versus us being the real deal Holyfield on other apps, you guys. So I thank you for taking the time to listen to our podcast here on Memorial Day.
Yes. Thank
How
you, everyone.
I am your co-host, Big Papa, and the other co-host here is Jay.
Hey. Hi, everyone.
Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day. Did everyone do anything fun and exciting? I just kind of relaxed, kept it low key. Um, I went to the gym. Then I came home, you know, kind of just relaxed a little bit. Met up with the
Hmm.
barber. Then, you know, connected with Big Pop on the live earlier with TikTok. And, now we're here celebrating our Memorial Day as citizens of the great United States of America.
Hmm. If
Memorial Day. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say Memorial Day started off as, one of those holidays that was traditional by foundational Black American freedmen who were celebrating their deceased warriors and soldiers that died in the various American wars who were not properly celebrated because at the time they did not value our black soldiers the same way they did the others. So basically, it was up to us to uh, memorialize them. So now it went mainstream and has gone to other groups, and now it's just a big federal holiday. So it is what
So,
it is.
according to the American Oracle, the Civil War,
Ooh.
in the Civil War rights era, a book that was written by David David Blight, a Yale University professor, claimed that on May the 2nd, 1865, freed enslaved people came came together in Charleston, South Carolina, to pay tribute to the Union soldiers that um, had been deceased and put into a common burial after the war. So there were 257 deceased Union soldiers. So that's how it started. So they wanted to do a memorial for the deceased Union soldiers who were African American. And as y'all know, black folks can't have nothing of our own. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I was
Oh,
just
okay.
on mute.
Yeah. So black folks can't have nothing of their own, and our this holiday was eventually added as a government holiday.
Yeah, yeah.
So while y'all sitting around and saying and thinking that black folks ain't never gave y'all nothing, we already done giving y'all an extra day off work from Memorial Day.
And Juneteenth.
Yep, and well, Juneteenth is not going to be recognized this year. So,
Oh well, it is in
are
some
you off?
places.
Yes, some places they will, but federal government is not going to recognize Juneteenth. So, um, so yeah. Did anyone out there know that it was African Americans that started Memorial Day? Y'all can definitely put that down in the comments in the live stream. Um, you can give us a cute little at on X and let us know how y'all feel about Memorial Day. Fast forward to now, it's really a day of being around family, being around other vets that has went to war, and just went through the tough times of war. So shout out to the brothers and sisters that uh were in the Iraqi war, uh Vietnam War, World War II,
Desert
and
Storm. You said
yeah,
Vietnam, right?
yeah, Vietnam. Um any of those wars, shout out to y'all.
Afghanistan, all of that Middle East conflicts
Yeah.
ongoing. The
Anyone
brothers and
who
sisters that
has
died in Jordan this last year over some nonsense that happened there. All of that. People
and
that went through
also
their
shout out
sacrifice.
to those who were the support helpers, the ones who supported the military while they were at war. So shout out to those people as well. Because it takes more than soldiers going to war to do something. It's also people who clean up, folks in the kitchen, all of y'all. Shout out to y'all um, who put in the work to have America the shithole that it is today. So thank you.
Mm, damn.
Let me stop.
I would say what it is that, it is just part of the system that we all are part of, maintaining. So
hmm
it just is what it is.
Um, and so when we were on TikTok, we definitely saw some people who were grilling out. I saw ribs and chicken and hot dogs and hamburgers and all of that. I hope you guys are um, enjoying y'all's Memorial Day.
Yes, yes, thank you. I know I am enjoying the day and just chilling, like I said earlier.
Yeah. We're uh, heading into the last week of May.
Yes.
I think that May went a lot slower. In my opinion, this month was like a really slow month.
Okay.
Compared to um January up until now.
Mhm.
And maybe it's because the seasons are changing, but it just feels like time is going by a little bit slower.
I
Um,
can get that. Even though I had a lot of things going on this month, I still could feel where it was like dragging along.
right,
So
right.
like typically it would be like, okay, you have a lot going on, time would go by fast. But
Hmm.
it seemed to me that time was just kind of, you know, it was just taking its time, which, that's fine.
Right.
It is
Because
what it
time fell back when? In March? When did time go back? Or
No,
was it this month?
it's spring forward, so it went
I
forward
mean,
in, yeah, it went forward in April, I want to say. Let me look that up real quick.
okay.
When was spring forward 2020? It was, oh, you're right. It was March 9th,
Mm,
2025.
okay.
That's when it started. So you were correct, Big Papa. And it
Okay.
ends Sunday, November 2nd, when it goes to
Mm,
fall back. Fall back. Fall back. Hey.
right.
So, yeah, you're right.
So
Cool.
I wanted to tell the brothers and sisters out there who are listening on this podcast and y'all got y'all's mortgages or whatever else, you guys, I just want to make you all aware to definitely pay attention to the forecast for the hurricane season if you're living on the East Coast like we are.
Mm,
Um, the hurricane season starts, I think they said either this week or the first week in June, and normally it ends in November. So, if you haven't, if you know of anyone who doesn't have flood insurance or they don't know what their policy includes, I would definitely reach out to your family members and make sure that they are good on their flood insurance if you're living on the East Coast near water. Now, granted, uh, just because when you think of a hurricane, you're thinking of the coast. Please know that hurricanes go inward as well.
mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
Hundreds of miles inward.
mhm. So, when we're talking about, New Louisiana, um Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, on up to New York. Please remember Tennessee, um Georgia, all of these other places, anything is possible. Just please, the best thing to do is to be aware and know what you have. Another thing that you all can do before the hurricane season even starts is take your camera on your phone and video everything from the front door to the back door
Mhm.
and all around your property so that you can remember what you have, because what will happen is if your home gets completely destroyed, you're going to have to itemize all of those things that you lost.
True.
And it, huh? What did you say?
Sorry, I was trying to get this thing off. Sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, you will have to itemize all the things that was damaged or that you lost. And if you don't have anything to rely back on, to show what you have so that you can remember everything, then you may end up missing out on getting the money back for something. Let's just say you forgot to list your tablet, or you forgot to list an extra TV that you had in the box somewhere. Anything is possible. And when you are in a situation where you can't even go back into your home because it's so destroyed, you those things slip your mind. So we each year we should always be having some type of proof of what all that we have, so that
Yeah,
all of those things can be written down and be itemized if the time comes. I pray that none of that occurs, but if it does occur, it's better to be prepared than not at all. And
totally agree.
yes, please don't think, oh, she don't know what she's talking about. I have my insurance license. I am an
Mm,
insurance producer,
mm,
so I do
mm,
know what I'm talking about. And
Yep.
matter of fact, Jamal and I went to, I mean, I'm sorry, Jay and I went to a flood class.
Yes.
So we know that there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of restrictions, there's a lot of per neighborhood rules to go by and things like that. And if the main thing that we did learn is that if it rains in your
Mm.
area, it
What
can
did you do?
flood.
Oh my God.
If it rains in your area, it can flood.
One more time.
If it rains in your area, it can flood.
Yeah,
Okay. Now,
no
even
joke.
if your area is um, way above
Like at the top of the
sea
hill.
sea level, even if even if where you are is way above sea level and it's never flood out, you need to remind yourself that Asheville, North Carolina is a mountainous area.
Mm,
They had never seen water,
mhm,
that much water.
mhm, mhm,
And what happened? The hurricane went inward and tore Asheville up. And as of right now, they got denied FEMA to help,
mm.
clean up the area.
Yeah.
So that's the type of government that we are in, you all. We are in the government that when your governor asks for help, especially in these red states, if your governor's asking for help, Donald Trump is not allowing people to use FEMA for that. Donald Trump believes that it should be used, the state should be taking care of that, not FEMA.
States' rights. That's pretty much what they believe in. So they, hey, states' rights is just another moniker of white supremacy, in my opinion.
Um, and then not just only that, it, we saw last year that when those hurricanes started coming back to back to back, what did these insurance companies do?
Mm.
What did they
Started
do to the people in California?
dropping them, denying them, just like in the middle of the stuff, just saying, "Nah, we're not. We're gonna drop you."
Right.
What?
And so if you think that, I mean, I think eventually the state of California like made them still cover the people or something, but still that was a natural disaster that occurred, and those people didn't wake up that morning and think that their whole house was going to be gone. So the best thing to do is to be prepared, understand what environment we are in, and we're not in the environment where it's everybody's helping each other and trying to um get everything back that they lost. We
But
are in the time of pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
but this is where I think mutual aid, as you had mentioned last week, where you're talking about you were telling people, to check with pantries and local resources that are out there is going to become even more important than ever. Um, you know, simply because it's going to be really challenging uh, for everyone these next coming up. And the sad thing is that a lot of this stuff is, in my opinion, manufactured. meaning it's man-made. So
Mhm.
like it don't have to be this way. It's just because the powers that should not be are wanting to make sure that certain people don't have access to certain things. Like I heard something really telling the other day, and it made a lot of sense. The whole reason why we have to deal with like insurance and stuff like that is because instead of having universal healthcare like every other civilized country in the planet, the racists did not want to have didn't want black people to have access to healthcare. So they'd rather say no, let's not have universal healthcare because that means we got to allow the black folks to have healthcare too. So, it's like at some point this comes to a head and now you see where it's affecting your own people. And even
Mhm.
still, like if they were today just to say, all right, only white people could have access to this stuff that they're
Mhm.
talking about for everybody, they would pass it immediately.
Right.
It's only because
Because
they don't want other people to have access to it.
that's right. Because it only benefits them and nobody else.
Like, I mean, so that just goes to show how ignorant and sad these people are, that that's what they believe they have to do in order to maintain leverage or whatever over another human being, which is just not right.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that's just where we are in this country. And it's been that
Mm.
way for a long time. And it just goes to show where you have these old people in charge that are holding on to these old ideals that don't want anything to change, even though the vast majority of the American people, they want something different. They agree pretty much about the same thing because we're all pretty much, the majority of us are at the bottom.
Mhm.
So we are the ones that really are dealing with having to deal with co-pays when you talk about insurance and stuff like that, or deductibles. It's not those top people that, have tons of assets. They have their own other issues, but at that point, even if stuff hits the fan, they have options that the majority of us don't.
Mhm.
So, you know, that's where at the end of the day, I think it's just a real telling, disgusting thing that America has where they would rather keep this nonsense going instead of just sitting down and coming to the table and trying to make something work out. I mean, you hear the president talk about all the time how he's trying to make a deal. He's trying to make a deal everywhere else except where it matters domestically. So that's all I gotta say about
Right.
that.
And he's the man of 90 deals in 90 days. Which 90 deals are you referring to, and what set of 90 days is he talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the hubris of it all.
And so, I want, speaking of what you were talking about, those local resources, what we were discussing about in the prior show, you all have to start getting on your community leaders as well, i.e., these
Hmm.
churches. If you a Muslim, these mosques. If you a Jehovah's Witness, your hall. If you are a Jew, your synagogue, but we ain't worried about them. Though your leaders should be. This is where the church steps in to help those.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yes. So, I would definitely reach out to your community leaders and find out, what options will be available for you. Um, as we know, things are changing with food, healthcare, and as of right now, during this conversation, we're talking about the upcoming hurricane season. So, what resources will be there if, um, your house gets torn down by a tree or something like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, most churches have parsonages where maybe they'll let you move in and stay there, but y'all can't be too scared to ask, especially if you giving your 10% every Sunday.
Paying your tithes. Yeah, you shouldn't be afraid to ask at all. That's the least they could do. If not, then they could set you up with a hotel or something. Either way, they need to be coming out helping their congregation.
Because uh, hoping that the Red Cross will come out and do something that could that could be stopped too. Isn't the Red Cross funded by FEMA?
They probably get a ton of federal funding. I don't know if it's
Uh-huh.
from like FEMA or not, but yeah, I'm pretty sure the Red Cross gets a lot of government funding at the end of the day
Right,
for them to do what they do, even if at the very least they're tax exempt status. Which is, how I feel about that.
right. So you know these are all things to think about.
Yeah,
And I get that it feels like it's always something. It's always something. But it's better to get ahead of the curve before you get to the curve and you're already in it and don't know what to do.
yeah, yeah. No, that's facts. That's facts.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
did you have another topic? Because I wanted us to talk about that lady in Charlotte that got caught up for those PPP loans.
No, I hadn't heard about that. So you'd be putting me on. But real quickly, the only thing I wanted to say was the
Hmm.
hurricane season does start on June 1st. So it does start next week, Sunday,
Uh-huh.
and it goes until November 3rd. So pretty much the rest of the year.
Right.
Just FYI.
And so there's no really green deal going on this side of the world. So, you know, nobody is really helping the how hot the planet is getting, which is just going to make these hurricanes stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
And so, you got to be prepared.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting for sure.
Um so what I was bringing up was it's a lady. She is a councilwoman, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, and she was voted in, so she wasn't like given the position. She was voted in, and she had some I guess they're calling it fraud, that her and her daughters committed fraud, that they got like 5 or 6 different PPP loans.
Oh wow.
And from those PPP loans, they had a like a really expensive birthday party from the money. So the lady has been taking a lot of heat on that. She said that she was not going to give up her position because she was voted in by the people.
Mm.
But she is going to have to go to court regarding the PPP loans that her and her daughters took out. Now, there's nothing saying, that someone can't have multiple businesses um, and get a PPP loan for all of her businesses. If
Mhm.
those businesses are legit,
Mhm.
then she'll be able to go to court and have her say of what they did with it. But apparently, I heard that she said that she hired a third party company to file her paperwork to get the money forgiven
Mhm.
from her PPP loan, and she is currently working with the third party that she hired to help her in court when it's her time for court. But it's been a lot of camera footage and stuff about it. Do you see it up on your end? Because I can't really read the article right now.
Yeah,
But do
let
you
me
see any information on that?
you said she's a councilwoman?
I think so, yeah.
Indicted City
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, this is WBTV. Oh, oh Lord. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and read that.
This is from May 23rd, Charlotte, North Carolina, WBTV. That's one of the local news outlets. A Charlotte City Council member recently charged with wire fraud in connection with alleged loan scheme pleaded not guilty on Friday. Council member Tijuana Brown, who represents District 3 in Charlotte, appeared in court Friday, May 23rd, alongside her two daughters. All three of them were indicted this month in alleged scheme to fraudulently obtain loans during COVID pandemic. Brown and her two daughters each pleaded not guilty to the charges on Friday. According to the indictment, Brown and her two daughters were accused of conspiring to execute a scheme to defraud the Small Business Administration's Economic Injury EIDL program and its PPP and obtain COVID pandemic relief funds for their purported business. Okay. The family is accused of falsely obtaining at least 124, 165. Is that thousand, 100,000? Anyways,
Yeah, I think it's 1,000.
okay. It is alleged the false documentation generally included fake fraudulent tax forms, including other misrepresentations, including spending 15,000 on a birthday party for herself. Turn up. Court filings alleged Brown filed false information on a pandemic loan about clothing business she started in late 2020. Dang, I can't say you just started the business now. See, and this is the part I don't understand. All right, Big Papa, you know what I went
Oh
through.
no, we got to address the situation. Well, the reason why I brought it up was because I'm noticing that black women are starting to become under attack. Number one, this woman has become under attack. The governor, the mayor in Baltimore, whoever it was that got arrested for visiting the ICE facility, that he got arrested. The lady, they dropped the charges on him, but the lady who was the head of them, the reason why they went to that facility to make sure that they were abiding by the rules and everything, she now has to go to court and defend her case. So she's under target as well. And then since Trump has gotten into office, they were saying that 220,000 black women have lost their jobs, and that is the biggest of the entire people, the biggest demographic of all the people who lost their job since Trump has been in office. So black women are under attack in the media, and they're under attack with their jobs. Go ahead, Jay.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, there's a few things to that, but um, I'll just go back to this real quick. So I during the pandemic, I already I have my business since 2014. I've been selling houses since 2014. That's what my tax return shows that I've been a small business, filing all those years. They never gave me anywhere near. They gave me less than $20,000 for EIDL.
Hmm.
And for the PPP, it was nothing.
Right. I think in total, all I got from my businesses was like 5,000 in total.
So, but here's the thing. I had a like at the time I had a legitimate provable business. And that's all I
Yeah.
got. These people
Right.
here, I'm reading this information on a pandemic loan application about a clothing business she started in late 2020, meaning the pandemic had already started. They were already giving out EIDL loans, and
Yeah.
you just said that you had a clothing business because you got put on that that's what was going on. Versus me, and
Right.
they gave you a whole bunch of money. Versus me, who has had a legit business with taxes to prove such, which is why they gave me
Mhm.
what they gave me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, they ain't giving me anything. I'm still paying on it. But that's where yeah, she may have put. I don't know. I don't know. Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. But I know they ain't giving me no whole bunch of money. And
Right.
if somebody had to ask me, yeah, the PPP was forgiven. So, and I didn't have to get no third party to do that. I just did it. It was a way to do it online. So
Mhm.
I don't understand what you needed a third party to do that for when if you were legit, you all you had to do was just do it online.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't know about the situation. There's clearly something to that. In your discussion about black women being attacked, you also have Tish James in New York, which we discussed a couple podcasts ago. Um,
Mhm.
but that I think is a little bit more understandable given the situation. But now with the 100,000 plus women, black women that have lost their jobs, yeah, a lot of them were affected from the Doge cuts, and a lot of them were federal employees that were part of the mass layoffs. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean that is a fact. But I think another part to that, unfortunately, is that how many black people and black women in particular were told to go get that safe government job that was safe.
Mhm.
How many of us fall for that trap? And then we, have to learn the hard way that ain't nothing safe. So, I think that it's a sad thing that happened, yes, but it's also very telling of our society of that old way of thinking that just doesn't apply in our day of life anymore, unfortunately, and how things have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You right about that.
hmm
There is no such thing as being safe now in 2025.
You don't have no safe job.
Nope.
They can get rid of you anytime they want to, which is why me
Yep.
personally, I ain't no fan of giving nobody no 2 weeks notice. You don't give me no 2 weeks notice when you about to lay me off or get rid of me, do you? You just say, hey, we don't all need your services per the needs of the business. Thanks. Bye.
Mhm.
So why do I need to offer you that same courtesy that you don't offer anyone else?
You right. Mm. I just find it. I just find it crazy with all of that going on. It's just very interesting
Yeah. I mean,
how all of that
there's
is happening.
hmm yeah, no, it does. It does put a lot of things in perspective. Unfortunately, a lot of black women support the Democrat Party to a fault. Case in point, that other lady you were talking about, that congresswoman who now has to deal with um, court cases because of what was going on with the detention center. Which I've said time and time again, if you're gonna crash out over something like that, you have all these federal prisons that have Black Americans locked up in them. Where's the Congress people going to like make sure that they doing stuff right in these federal prisons? You hear all kinds of stories in these prisons of stuff that goes down, and nobody goes to check in on that, but they want to go check in on some illegals it just goes to show where the priority of the Democratic Party is, and it's not on their citizens, and that's why they continue to lose these elections, and don't know why, but they not reading the room, in my opinion. If you have the ability to check on federal facilities where they're holding people, and you are a black woman, and you know for a fact that there's so many things that happen in these facilities that affect black people, why have you not ever visited one of those, but then you're going to go crash out and get arrested visiting one of those other facilities for people that can't even vote for you? That's just not a good look at all. I don't really feel sorry for her. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah, I think that the case is gonna get dismissed
I mean, yeah, more than likely it is because she's a
because she
congresswoman.
was literally doing her job. Like, even if she had some other malintent that she was gonna go up there and storm the place and find out what's going on and stuff. At the end of the day, yes, like you said, she should be checking other prisons in her state and not just that one specifically. But that the because she went there to do her damn job.
I mean,
At
I
the
get
end of the
it,
day.
right? Yeah, so
But
that's why I
the
said like
issue
I'm
is
sure
that
it will be
there was
dismissed.
no appointment set. I don't think, or maybe they did have an appointment.
No, the issue is that she started flailing her arms everywhere, and they say that she assaulted an officer. That's what the issue is. Yeah, they
Oh.
didn't have an appointment, but yeah, because she's a congresswoman, that wasn't really the issue. It's when all of that scuffling happened, and she
Hmm.
was flailing her arms around like a mad woman, and apparently, I don't know, it must have hit one of the agents or whatever. So that's all they need to say, she assaulted somebody. So
Hmm.
again, you a black woman, if you're gonna crash all the way out and be flailing your arms around over some shit, why
Hmm.
not do it over something that's gonna really make a difference for your people, for people that can actually vote for you?
Hmm.
I mean, if
Hmm.
you're gonna do it, right? Like if that's how you're gonna go down and have to now deal with potential issues, why not do it for your people that can, so they can say, all right, when they standing there at the voting booth, they can say, oh yeah, she got charges over seeing what was happening down at the prison that my cousin locked up at. That makes a difference versus somebody that can't vote for you at all.
Hmm.
But I digress.
Hmm.
Hey, her priority is her priority. Like you said, she was doing her job. That was her priority that day. My God.
Right. Um. Let's see what else has happened that we didn't discuss. The only other
Um,
thing that I do know, we do know that the bill got passed in the House and now it's on its way to the Senate regarding the Medicaid cuts and stuff.
yeah,
Uh.
which I did find a little bit more research on that.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of it is going to have to do with uh like some of the requirements in order to keep the Medicaid and medic and food stamps benefits.
Yeah. Mhm.
So like apparently there was a lot of waivers in place from COVID that like was allowing people to still not work.
Uh
So
huh.
stuff like that's going to be taken away. And then you also had a lot of, again, non-citizens that were getting resources such as Medicaid and food stamps that are now going to be further restricted against and things like that. Um,
Mhm.
Now, as long as you're an American citizen and you meet the qualifications, as far as I can see, you should be okay. Now, they're still going to be discussing things in the Senate and making tweaks here and there, so that will remain to be seen. So I think this is one of those things we just have to pay attention to and keep seeing what they're going to do. But yes, it did pass the first phase from the Senate is now, or excuse me, it passed the House and is now in the Senate where
Mhm.
you have um what is it? What does it look like in the Senate? Let me Google that real quick. U.S.
It's not
Senate.
a super majority, but it is. Um, the Senate is majority Republican, but it's not a super majority.
Um, whoops.
Is that correct?
I'm trying to see. Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, in the U.S. Senate, 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats slash independents. So yeah, like you
Uh-huh.
said, not a super majority, but they do have the majority to where they only need, they can afford to have like two people not vote or, you know,
Uh-huh.
whatever. And then they can still win without having to do anything crazy. So, um, yeah, see, I'm looking at what this thing says. It says four Democrat seats were flipped to Republican in the last election.
Uh-huh.
uh, well, that's what happens when you run terrible candidates. It has an effect down ballot. Which, speaking of, this whole book that Jake Tapper has come out with, shame on him.
What? I ain't heard nothing about that.
You haven't heard about the book that Jake Tapper is on he's on a media tour right now. You know who Jake Tapper is, right? He's the guy from
No, I don't
CNN.
know who that is. Mm-mm.
Okay, he's one of the
Let the people know.
Jake Tapper is one of the top dogs at CNN. He was one of the moderators during Joe Biden's versus Trump's debate where Joe Biden glitched out. He
Uh-huh.
was the dude. It was him and Dana Bash.
Okay.
Anyways, so he came out with the book, um, basically talking about how the media and Joe Biden's cabinet covered up his condition. Now, mind
Uh-huh.
you, he came out with the book last week. What also happened last week? Joe Biden announced that he has stage 4 cancer.
Uh-huh. Which we did talk about on the last podcast. So
Yes.
please check that out if y'all would like to hear that conversation.
Yeah. Um, so now they're saying how the media didn't talk about it and how it was just a big old conspiracy. And I'm just sitting here thinking, well, were you not part of the media, Jake Tapper? Were you not working at CNN? Is that not what you people at the news are supposed to do? Is report the freaking news when you have the news and you're supposed to report it? But then it makes sense because you all were the same people when people were trying to say that something was wrong with Joe Biden. You all were the ones saying, no, nothing's wrong with him. He's sharp as a tack. You're crazy. You're MAGA, you're this, you're that, when all people were just saying was something's wrong with him and he's not well.
Right.
But they were covering for him and them because they just wanted to keep that BS going. And it's just not a good look. It's not a good look at all. It's like now you have a coming to Jesus meeting about where we are in America, but you don't understand the role that you played in it, it seems. Like
Uh-huh.
you could have been one of the people that let everyone know, hey, yeah, something's going on with him. And that would have, it just would have brought more attention to it. But all of these, you had MSNBC, CNN, all of the left major news networks, they were all on board. You had Kareem Jean Pierre, the press secretary, standing up there every other day lying when people were asking her, well, about Joe Biden fell last week. Like, what's going on about that? Like, just all kinds of stuff that was going on that they just kept saying that instead of being honest, they were just deflecting and just trying to say that people were tripping, that people were Republicans, they were helping Trump. I mean, the
But I
Democrats really.
mean, fast forward to over the weekend, Trump did a speech at what is that military college?
West Point.
Yeah, at West Point.
Hmm.
And they said that he was walking up on the stage and he looked confused, like he didn't know he was supposed to be going to the podium to make a speech.
But see, that's the thing, Big Papa. All that stuff was happening with Joe Biden as well, but they did not cover it, just like they
Right.
covering that with Trump. We already know Trump ain't got no damn sense. We know this.
Right.
Um, and so, but the thing is, when people were trying to say that, just like how you said that right there, how he was walking up on stage, like people were, there were, it was always showing stuff where he would be, Joe Biden would be running off somewhere, looking confused, standing around.
Mhm.
People would have to come grab him and lead him
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
But they would never report on that. They would keep it
Hmm.
quiet. You would have to go to the independent media to find those types of stories, to hear any kind of reporting on it. But again, your mainstream media, people like Jake Tapper at CNN, people like Rachel Maddow at MSNBC, and Joyless Reed and people like that, they would never talk about that because they had to keep that BS going so they could keep their jobs and keep people voting for them. And what's crazy is they almost got away with it until that damn debate where it blew up in their face, where they couldn't hide anymore.
Oh yeah. And then I think that's another reason why we're starting to see a move to independent media,
Yes,
because it's getting harder to trust these news outlets who are keeping information away from you.
right. And now they want to come out with a book and sell you a book and make money off of a book when all they had to do was just actually do their job as a journalist and report the news. But instead, they're gonna be like, oh well, I'm just gonna wait till now that Joe Biden's basically he's not a threat. Let's just say that they don't have to be worried about the wrath of the Bidens anymore. So now they can come out with their tell-all book and reveal all of the secrets and stuff.
Uh huh.
And I mean, it's just like it's disgusting because if you all actually if this worked, if this horrible plan worked, and Joe Biden or Kamala got elected, you all wouldn't have come out with these books. You all would have just kept it as business as usual because you all would have just got a whole bunch of money from your networks because you did your job, which was to shuffle people out to vote for them. And that's where again it did not work. It backfired badly. That's why the Democrats lost so horribly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they still
Cause
don't really understand like why, and it's just that's just again their hubris, their pride, just like how Joe Biden still thinks and will go up on The View and talk about how he still thinks he could have won the election. Like you're delusional, bro. Like you're so out there, like you're so far gone, and shame on your wife, Dr. Jill Biden. My God. I don't know what it is with these people in these relationships, but damn that. I don't need nobody that's gonna string me along like that, have me looking like a crazy man. And also you can have a pizza.
hell is hot.
Okay.
Ain't no water there.
Now,
Oh, hell is hot.
yes.
Ain't no water there.
Mm,
No ice,
nope.
no tea,
Ooh,
no lemonade.
my God. No, there was a special place for someone like that. You talk about elder abuse. That was far worse than elder abuse. Far, far worse. I mean, oh. I honestly I feel bad for Joe Biden because he was used, and I'm sure if he was with his faculties and he knew what was going on, he wouldn't appreciate it. But it was so clear what was going on, and I mean, it's the sad thing is that America now has to pay for that because of the actions of these people. Instead of having a primary, which is the democratic thing to do, they said no, don't believe your lying eyes. He's the picture of health. Then when that ended up not being true, they said, all right, well, here's your candidate, the cackling hyena that can't form sentences. So yeah, I mean, come on. They set her up to fail. They gave her 100 days to get a campaign together for the president of the United. I mean, they weren't genuine at all. There was no genuine thing about this, and that's again why, unfortunately, we the people now have to suffer because of this horrible two-party system that people only believe in when there were other people that you could have voted for. But anyways,
Where are we with time?
we got about 3 minutes left.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to wrap the conversation up there, you guys.
Yes,
We
indeed.
respect you all's time on this Memorial Day.
Yes. Thank you all for listening and being part of the
Thank you all for
conversation.
listening. Definitely put your comments down in the comment section
In the YouTube.
in the YouTube. Add us on X. Um, we are on TikTok at TPP underscore podcast. Um, and if you're listening to us on YouTube, well, hey, you're already there. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. And of course, Jamal and I will, I mean, Jay and I will, will come back with, even more, um, podcasts for you all.
Another banger.
And, is there anything else we're forgetting?
No, Big Pop, I think that's it. You want to go ahead and close this out?
Yeah, let's close it out. All right, you guys. Have a good Memorial Day.
Enjoy. Take
All
care. Thanks for listening.
right.
Bye.
Bye.